Pegasus, the Israeli firm software, has allegedly targeted thousands of individuals globally and hundreds of them in India. This spyware is so invasive that it can check each photograph stored on your phone and even read all your messages. It has left many of us worried for our own security. Today, we have with us Satyajit Sinha, a cybersecurity expert who will help us understand how Pegasus infects your phone and even spies on you without even a click. Satyajit Sinha specializes in IoT market research, cybersecurity, and smart device ecosystem. As an industry analyst, Mr. Sinha has authored many IoT industry reports. Currently, he is working as an IoT analytics. Prior to this, he has worked as an analyst at Counterpoint Research. So let me begin by asking you, what exactly is the Pegasus software?
Well, Pegasus is a software that is meant to be a malware, or you can now say that's a spyware. Uh, its job is to simply invasive in your personal life, in your professional life through your smart devices. It is attack as a service software where it is been meant by NSO. It is prepared by and developed by NSO Group. The NSO Group is already known, everyone known about its services that they develop this kind of software to
Yeah.
just to sell into the market, just to, for attack as a service proposition.
Okay. And so, how does this device actually, how does this infect a device?
So basically, as we all know, there are various ways of inflicting a device or infecting a device, like phishing. It was from a long time. We have seen various malware that they do. They do phishing attacks. They send messages, send push notifications. Well, the Pegasus is different only because it has the ability of zero-click attack. Means you don't have to do in the victim didn't have to do anything. In earlier scenarios, you have to click a email, or you have to click an image or link,
It
then
was
it get,
clickbait.
yeah. So
Yes.
get it installed in your devices. But for this, it doesn't you don't have to do anything. Is if you are targeted, it's a zero click attack. It will come you through a WhatsApp call.
So
Even if you,
how
yeah.
does this zero click attack, when you say, what exactly does it mean for a layman?
So, for example, in 2019, what happened? WhatsApp itself released a press release where it declared that NSO Group has cracked leveraged the over the air push notifications or call, which is basically you will get a call, and you don't accept the call. Uh, the spyware will be pushed into your devices. So that's called zero click attack. I mean, you don't have to click anything. There's no contact of human interaction or human error on your side, but it will get your device get infected just because your number has been called through a WhatsApp number with this spyware.
Okay. So, what kind of devices are vulnerable to the spyware?
Any devices which have a cellular connectivity. Right now we have seen only the devices which are be using cellular connectivity, which have a SIM card or eSIM or anywhere which is connected to a remote locations. Like right now it's mainly smartphones. uh,
Okay.
if your laptop is also embedded with a SIM, it can be affected. The interesting part is that if your phone is being hacked through this spyware, your phone will have password for your router, your home router, right? It can also hack that as well, and eventually it can attack your laptop as well. So because it's all connected to our home router, once it get access to your smartphone, it can access to all the devices you have the password which are stored in your smartphone.
Okay. Okay. And so this really is very, very scary, and we'll come to that later. How can we keep ourselves protected? But before that, who is generally targeted by this spyware, and is it available, readily available for anyone to source?
Well, this is very interesting because before answering this question, it is important to understand that cybercrime is not just a technical glitch, or people are working through it. It's a business. There is a business model to it. Uh, there is a lot of investment go through prepare these kind of spyware. These are not prepared overnight. It's been there from 2016, and there are a lot of incidents happen throughout the world that this spyware has been used. It has been mainly targeted for the prominent people who are in power, or who have where information can be leveraged to do that. For example, you can say that in 2016, this spyware was the price of this spyware was $25,000 per target. So
Okay.
if someone need to get a license from NSO Group, they need to pay $25,000 for one license. One license for per target you can use it. So obviously it's not something that everyday hacker can go and buy it and use it, because it's a business. If someone is investing in money $25,000, and the price I'm talking about is as per 2016 data. So you can imagine that this is 2021, 5 years. If four times price fold, it's like $100,000 right now, and it's not that everyone can access to it. It's something that professionals are doing it. They know they can make money out of it. The data they you can capture, then only they are investing their time and money on it.
Okay. So before I go on to my next question, there is another one which we have from our reader. Can anyone and everyone get affected by the Pegasus software?
Well, yes. If you are targeted, if you are been targeted for this, yes, you can. There is nothing to stop it right now, because yes, there are measures that we'll talk about later, but that still it's not a foolproof. This is in security industry. We will talk about nothing is foolproof. All you need to
Okay.
do is apply multiple layer of security to harden your device or harden your system. That's all you need to do.
All right. And how exactly does the spyware get into the devices it's targeting?
Well, as you know, there are already various phishing attacks, various messages. One of the key examples you can see that in 2020 January, Jeff Bezos got attacked with the Pegasus 3, and that what happened with the same spyware, and it was done through a WhatsApp message, video, or link sent by a Saudi prince. So these are the most common one. But yes, as because Pegasus has the zero click attack facility, it can be attacked through just a call, WhatsApp call as well.
Okay, so if there is no call, and if there is, if there are none of these messages, these phishing messages, one is clicking on, and still we are at risk of getting attacked.
Yeah, if there is no call and still if you click any messages, you are also in attack, because call is just a one way of doing it. There are already various ways to doing it, like phishing attacks through messages, through WhatsApps, through emails, through message. Any way you can get it. If you click an unknown link which you don't know, sometimes it happens that your mother sent a link and you said, okay, it's my sending from my mother, but it's actually her phone get attacked first, and then it's spreading to her contacts. So
So
it's
so
also
does
important. So it's also
does
important to know that you are don't click any unknown link on it.
and does it also gets attached to the servers we are using, or is it how does this work?
Well, it's mainly attached to your own devices. It doesn't go through the server, because server has its own security layer of protection. Well, uh, it's rather going backward. It goes to the devices, and yes, it take the data from your devices and uses it to extrapolate that attack. So it suppose it takes a phone number from your number, they can call that number and use that attack to same attack on that number as well.
All right. Okay. This is very, very interesting the way this is working. Satyajit, how can one know that you've been targeted? And also, what can be done once the spyware is installed on our phones?
Well, the Pegasus has a trick that it has its own encryption, that it's hide it from all the software right now that's available in the market. So it's encryptions not only hide it from it, it also has a self-destruct code as well. So it's very difficult to identify by your own that you are being targeted. uh, you will hardly see any anomaly in your devices, but yes, you are being targeted. You have been attacked to that. The only way is to submit your phone to a cybercrime division or a technical expert who can do a in-depth analysis of your phone and go through it and do an anatomy of your phone and find out, yes, you have been attacked or not. So
Okay,
it's,
so
yes, right now it's very difficult to for us individual layman person to understand that yes, they have been attacked or not.
so there is no way of finding out if any of our phones are compromised.
Yeah, but to be very honest, it is very important to understand that we are not that important like Jeff Bezos or someone like that. That people will spend 25,000 or $100,000 to spend attack us. That is very important. There are already a lot of malware and ransomware out there which can easily affecting us, or they can use that to affect us.
Okay. And once we are targeted, what is the kind of information that can be compromised?
Anything from email, SMSs, videos, your anything which you stored in your phone, passwords,
Even the conversations we're having?
in conversation, WhatsApp conversations, your even your message conversations. And interesting part is that I have been always been advocating about Apple's security, and to be very honest, this the Pegasus also cracks the Apple security as well. So earlier days it was called Trident. Now it's combined with Pegasus itself. So it's also cracking the Apple security, Apple own message as
Yes,
message.
in the iMessages and
Yes,
yes.
everything.
So even these giants are not able to do anything about it.
So this is the interesting part because it's not made of by the hackers or just normal hackers. They are professionals. They are updating their spyware every single year. Earlier, this zero click attack was not available in the Pegasus. It was just push notifications. But when the technology get advances, most of the companies started to use that, stop the push notification from third party apps. And these NSO groups and these hackers, they put their mind together and they also work through that as well. So it's also to understand that they are working continuously updating their spyware. So it's obviously it's a cyber war where if both the parties are trying to skip the vulnerabilities and other one are trying to exploit the vulnerabilities.
So is there? So how can one dodge the Pegasus if it decides to attack you?
Well, there's a two principle. There are two key principles. One is the reduce the uh, surface area of your attack. So, for example, if I am a permanent person and I know I may get attacked with this Pegasus, I will stop using most of the apps. I will start using browser instead of using apps because the more the apps, the more the software updates. The more the software updates, the more the chance of open doors. If you start removing the doors, here obviously there's a reduction in the surface area where you can get attacked. So you start using the browser rather than apps. Again, the second process is called the compartmentalization. Means you have to compartmentalize your devices separately. For example, you have your professional phone. Keep it for your professional works and personal phones for personal works. If you're talking to your personal something, just keep the phone in separate room where you are not your voices are not can be heard from that device.
Oh,
And if you're
okay.
talking yeah, so basically you have to separate the two both the phones
Oh, physically also you keep them separately. It's not that just don't add the numbers together, don't add the devices, but also physically keep
separately.
them.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And also, does changing your browser help?
Not that much because if someone is attacking you, it means is attacked your IP, the identity of your device. That doesn't change with your software change. It doesn't change with anything. It's a device identity has been compromised, so you can't remove it. Until unless you change the device, change the number, then only you can be away from this spyware.
Okay. So you're saying keep your devices separate, change your numbers frequently, and
Uh,
use
Only yes,
more browsers and less apps.
yeah, more browser. You have to use more browsing rather than using apps.
Okay. So I have some questions from the readers. So Shivani asks, can a mobile account apps be compromised?
Well, if it that is the interesting part because this Pegasus has a real time visual of your phone. So if you are using an ICICI bank account or any mobile, any app, it can see clearly what you are doing it. So obviously, if you put a password in it, even if you have not saved that password, but you have typed that password, yes, it can be compromised that time as well.
Okay, and so there's another question. Does installing an antivirus or anti-spyware help prevent such attacks?
No, as I said, Pegasus has its own encryption, which helps him to protect from these antivirus, anti-spyware apps right now. Nobody can right now able to crack that encryptions to penetrate that the boundary of Pegasus.
Okay, so not for Pegasus, but for other
Yes,
such attacks. Do these
obviously. Yeah.
anti-spywares help?
Yes, or if you for general purpose, you need to have a smartphone. If you're using smartphone, you to have a hardware based security. First point. Second, you have a software layer of security, and then cloud layer of security. Basically, that's why it's meant to say you have to use multiple layers. For general purposes, you have to use multiple layers of security, even for these general and anti ransomwares and malwares.
Okay, okay. And we have another question. So Abhishek asks, nowadays most of the companies are offering security software with their devices. Uh, do they keep these devices secure from phishing messages?
Well, there are lots of algorithm right now which basically go look into your history or look the databases of phishing, and they analyze that and they itself remove those phishing emails. But obviously, there's something it is not concrete because every time there are new kind of phishing emails comes. If you remember in COVID, the COVID messages came with the phishing emails, and people started to clicking on the vaccination or any kind of remedy, and they got attacked. So obviously they are improving their game to keep up with the market, and obviously not all can be used by the algorithm. So you have to use your brain to understand that this is not something right. This is right. So you have to analyze on yourself when you're clicking any
So
emails. Yeah.
we have to be very very aware of these
Yes.
unknown
Yes.
messages and
Yes.
mails will come and not to click them. So that is
Yes.
one way of keeping ourselves safe from these attacks.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah, all right. And there's another question from Aryan Sharma. So he says, where do you see the IoT domain going 5 to 10 years down the line? Your view on its future aspects.
Well, if you're talking about India perspective, yes, it's niche right now. But coming to the geo into the picture, and NBIT, obviously it's going to develop, especially when there is a huge opportunity in India. Global perspective, we already IoT has already reached 1 billion connection in cellular and 12 billion connection in all over connection. So it's going very smooth, and COVID was one of the key reasons for digitalization. So yes, it's having huge future aspect of it.
All right. So there are definitely as so Aryan, there definitely are a lot of job aspects here, as that was the second part of his question. So you can pursue this. And we have another question from Vinita, and she asks, is there anything called absolute privacy on the internet in any form or any platform?
Um, I guess if you not click accept to all the notification that comes, because that's what we tend to use to do. Anything that notification comes to whenever we install an app, we just accept it without reading it. So yes, if you don't do that, there is a privacy. There is something, and obviously many of the tech giants are working on it from a privacy perspective. Apple has been working for us not to track this feature. This feature is a key feature, and they are using it, and it's yes, it gives you great privacy. But obviously, if you this is not something that applicable on Android aspect as well.
There's another question. You said premium phones are safer to use, but not everyone in India can afford them. Any take on that?
Well, that's very true. Obviously, premium phones have better security right now, but it's all based on scalability. Once these security features are started to scalable, then the prices will go down, and then only it come to the normal phone. But the interesting part is the consumer is the king. Once the consumer started demanding the security, then only these companies can bring the security at the mid level and lower level phones. to be the honest, India has not been such more aware of the security concerns. We don't use the data like it's our own. We use our data that it's not our own. So obviously, unless until we start using our data as something is precious, this company will not bring these security feature to mid-range and low end
Yeah,
phones.
we have to start demanding certain things, and
Exactly.
also, and the companies will be forced to put consumer first, which is so rightly you've put it, Satyajit. Okay, there's another question from Nivedita Simarjeet. She says, is it safe to give permissions to apps about your location, photo gallery, videos, etc.? Because without that, it gets very difficult to install certain apps.
Well, you can install the apps just giving one or two permissions. Like if you are using a photo editing app, you can give the permission of gallery, but it's a one-time use of gallery. Like only when you are using the app, it doesn't have to give a 100% access for all time. You have to go to the setting and check that if it's a full-time access or just one-time access. I can understand,
Okay.
yes, you have to use that app. The same thing goes for others. You need to understand when you're using any app, that only then they need to access
Give
those
full
features.
permissions only then. Okay.
Exactly.
Otherwise no. Yeah. Only
Right.
when you're using the app, then, and
Yes,
I think it asks you that, you want like permission all time or while using the app. So I think we need to click on that when using the app. So
correct.
that is again a very important way to keep your
Yep.
data secure.
Right.
Uh, and okay, before we wind this up, any final word on what precautions one can take to stay safe from such spywares?
Well, it is very easy to understand that the data is now a new oil, right? And if your data is so much valuable that we don't even realize that. So we need to start thinking from a perspective that our data is valuable. That's the first step. Once you understand that, everything will fall into the line. You will start respecting your data, you start respecting your devices, your way of using your devices, and where using your lifestyle. So keep a smartphone which has a hardware based security. That's the first line of defense. Second line of defense is your software security which you used. Update your phones regularly, change your passwords regularly. These, if you follow these four rules, I don't think we have much to worry about.
Great, great. I think this is really, really valuable information. So Satyajit Sinha, I am definitely going to adapt all these security measures what we've just discussed, and I hope our readers do that too. So thank
Sure.
you so much for this very, very insightful and informative session. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
being with us.
Thank you, Puja.